Let's take a look at GBPJPY. Um, yeah, today once again, we saw Asia expanding, a massive gap, therefore on DXY. Um, this week, man, it's so clean on the daily and like the hourly, but all those moves which I have been looking for happened either in Asia or ahead of Asia. So annoying. But once those markets finally move again during the usual sessions, oh boy, those markets will get cooked again so hard. But hopefully June brings that around the corner. Um, yeah, let's do a quick recap of what happened this week so far. We saw early on in the week price swept those daily equal lows into the daily bullish OB, right? And then that's why I told you we either continue being bearish from that daily imbalance and we have to watch the hourly. If the hourly shows signs of bearishness, then we can expect continuation from that bearish imbalance into the lower end of this OB, the rejection block, and potentially even the sell side. However, if price, as we have tapped the OB and we're overall still in a ranging profile, and price not showing any weakness, and we get a daily closure above this daily imbalance, then a run of that daily week low inside a premium of that daily dealing range becomes the most likely narrative, especially with the economic calendar of this week, where we had the majority or all bad folders post Wednesday's New York session. Then on the H1, we on Tuesday trade into that daily bearish imbalance, where I told you, okay, now we have to watch if we break lower from here. For example, we invert this value gap again, close inside the Monday range, then we have a deviation and we can look for further sells. Now, as you can see, price kept being bullish into the daily closure, used that bullish imbalance to continue going higher, and then we closed above the daily bullish imbalance, forming a bearish BPR, or not a bearish BPR, a bullish inverse value gap, which we then expect price to go higher from. Then that was the first opportunity or the first narrative to look for a trade this week, a sweep of that low. But as mentioned, the move happened at Asia, expanded all the way into the highs, and then we retraced the entire move. And if we retrace that deep, I was expecting either price to sweep that low and then continue going higher. So we saw the H1 manipulation expanding all the way into those imbalances, and then we saw price failing to expand higher from that expansion in Asia. So I was anticipating, okay, we could potentially run this H4 week low in New York and then continue being bullish if we set up longs. However, price left behind equal lows, also no S&T with euro or pound, so there was no way for me to get into longs before price either runs this low or we have at least an S&T with euro or pound. Price kept going higher. Then once we closed above those down close candles, forming a new H1 bullish OB, that was the outlook from yesterday, where I told you I want to watch for longs to set up into this high from the OB. Again, we open up the day and price, even ahead of Asia, runs this week high and also taps the premium of that daily dealing range. So again, no opportunity to capitalize on that narrative. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Now the the first 2/3 of this week, and today we then saw obviously this large opening gap. We dumped all the way lower, and then we had New York news. Same thing again here. we had this week high where I was anticipating a potential S&T to form with euro. That euro sweeps the low and the XY is not sweeping the low. Same thing here again, same as on the H1. We just retraced higher, left behind equal lows on euro and pound, and also almost equal highs on the XY. Just on euro, we retraced a bit closer to the low. So again, no manipulation, no SMT, so you also can't frame any intraday setup here around this move, as you have no invalidation, right? You would have need to use this high, and then obviously using this high would be too much of a too big of a stop to aim for those lows here. But yeah, once the markets move again decently and we get, one or two of those moves within a session, then that's more than enough to frame a handful of setups, which are way more than enough to make decent returns. But yeah, now what do you guys think? What is now the bias going into tomorrow and then also obviously the first week of June? I mean, I already gave you the breakdown, so you only have to follow up with those thoughts now. I don't know, bro. I think Mike wants to hop onto the stage and do the market outlook today. Hmm. Not today. Might just keep going. But yeah, now back to the daily. We swept, as mentioned, the week high trade into a premium, and then we saw heavy displacement, right? We saw price pushing like a really large expansion all the way down, showing us that behind this move we have institutional sponsorship by the signature of this displacement we have seen today. So we can anticipate now price after running the external to continue being bearish and run at least the Monday lows. And then, same thing again here, we still have the daily OB being respected. But with price now having taken out the internal of that daily range, there's also a decent chance that we then can continue into the low here. Tomorrow we do have the last day of the month. That's the only thing which I don't really like. But keeping in mind that we have still news tomorrow, um, I will still look for more expansion to the downside. Um, we might not run all the way to those lows, but if we can get a decent move lower after having a retracement here, then that should be enough to frame a potential setup around the New York session. So what I'm then watching tomorrow is mainly this H4 imbalance, right? This entire move is a balanced price range now, up, down, so all this is balanced, and I don't want to see a deep pullback all the way into the highs here. Right? I want to see price retracing into this H4 imbalance, and then using that to trade lower into the outlined targets. We also have find the one into the H1 imbalance. We have this H1 weak swing high here, which should act as a manipulation. And we also have this H1 breakup block here, which we previously used to see price expanding into the daily buy side of that daily high. So now I want to see price respecting this breakup block aligned with the imbalance. So what I will be watching for is tomorrow for price to open up the day and then see price running into this imbalance. Then I want to watch for lower time frame displacement, changing order flow above those highs. And then if we get that, I will look for yeah, a short entry and try to catch that move here, right? As mentioned, due to it being the last day of the month, I'm not sure if price is willing to run all the way into the Monday lows, but if you can get, yeah, decent move here, then that's still good enough. Mm. Um, any questions? And obviously, the focus will be New York session, as that's where we have, yeah, the news being placed tomorrow. Also, what I like is that bonds are also aligning with this move. Although bonds have been quite decoupled the last few weeks, it's still here a nice confluence to have. We have SMT between the three bonds. You can see here we have on the 5 year, we have taken out the Monday lows and then we rallied on bonds higher. And here you can see we did not take out the Monday lows, so we do have SMT at those intra-week lows. And also, as you can see, on the higher time frames, we have taken out the weekly sell side, monthly sell side, whatever you want to call it. And on the 5 and 10 year, we have not taken out that monthly sell side. So we also do have an SMT being here in play, meaning if bonds can retrace here back into that weekly dealing range, so going higher, that would also support bullish prices for euro, pound, and so on. Then talking about euro also today's daily candle, which has closed as of now. You can see here on a daily, it's also quite obvious what the daily or where the daily should be reaching for. We have seen price sweeping this daily week low into this volume imbalance from the previous weeks. And then we saw price displacing higher. And we closed back above this bearish imbalance, or the bearish BPR here, we have formed before taking out this daily week low. So order flow on the daily is bullish. We have seen a daily stop run of a daily week low into a daily bullish key level, and then we saw heavy displacement closing above bearish PD arrays, so that's confirming to us that the higher time from order flow is bullish and price wants to seek buy side, which in this case are those equal highs on the daily as our next major draw on liquidity. So now we just have to identify a key level which we can use to then frame tomorrow our trade idea. In this case, quite obvious, we have this H4 imbalance, the same one as on DXY, and I want to see price retracing higher from that upper half of the imbalance. I don't want to see here a large pullback, because again, all of this is a balanced price range. So I want to see price to ideally consolidate here, and then we have the BPR here, the reclaimed one. You can see that one is even resting above. So I want to see if Euro can give a retracement here. Maybe form SMT with DXY at the lows. But on the H1, I am on the H4 imbalance here. Today, obviously large expansion on Euro, 150 pips roundabout. And same thing here. There was the run where I was sending out in the charts that I want to see pre-news or on news, maybe initial reaction down to sweep that low, and then I would have wanted to look for a continuation on the M5 higher. But yeah, price left behind those equal lows with no SMT, and then just pushed higher straight after news. But yeah, that's the plan on Euro. want to look for here a pullback, watching this H4 imbalance. If you can retrace here, then I want to look for continuation longs on euro into the daily equal highs. You can see as well this H4 bearish OB, which we have closed above, also now aligns roughly with those levels. So that's for me a level where I want to see price to retrace into. Is there any reason you started looking for longs before we inverted the H1, H4 value gap? Yeah, because my bias was bullish after sweeping those lows and then retracing, forming bullish PDRAs on the H1 bullish value gap, closing above the the middle of that bearish value gap. So for me, that was here indication that price wants to run higher after sweeping the steady low and then those equal lows on the H1 from when was it? Yeah, the week before. Some people on X took M15 longs on euro after daily week lows swept. I mean, on the M15, if you mean longs from here, post Asia, for me, that would not be enough to long here because that's the low risk buy on the M15, right? And if the H1 is still bearish, uh, I'm not longing a low risk buy on an M15 market maker buy model. So I want to see at least like this being confirmed, like we have seen London session here, and that's why I was looking for long stand here because then we had the low risk buy being confirmed on the M15, and we only had to wait for price to run this low into this imbalance in London session, and then you have here your key level to look for continuation higher into those equal heights from yesterday. With TLs tomorrow. I don't know why you guys are so obsessed with turtle soupping. Uh, Simply asking this question right now here shows that you have no idea when to use turtle soup or how to use it. Because what do you want to turtle soup by here? Like, which low on the H1 do you want to turtle soup by here? There's not even a low in that entire dealing range besides that one and those ones. So what low would you want to turtle soup by here? Surely not this one. Each stream I get a question, can we turtle soup buy or sell this low? Like, I've explained it thousands of times. When to turtle soup, how to decide between turtle soup and confirmation. And if I get those same questions each stream or every second stream, it gets kind of annoying. Then heading to pound. Now, I was already in pound longs today, but I closed the majority again around break-even because I want to see displacement or more displacement to the upside heading to the daily closure, which we have not seen, so I don't want to hold this through the night with price still being at my entry more or less, and I will look again tomorrow if I can frame potential longs on pound as well. Same thing with euro pound. I was hoping to see some displacement from those previous days highs heading into the daily closure. Now we did close on the daily inside the bearish OB and above those highs, which is not ideal for bearishness on euro pound. On the H1, H4, we're still trading or still respecting this key level here, the H4 OB. So still a chance we could be price continuing bearish here, but obviously I would want to see price on the H1 to show signs of bearishness by inverting those three value gaps here and forming new bearish ones. Then that would confirm that price wants to continue being bearish here. As of now, we're just consolidating above those highs, and we have to see how price is now continuing to trade here. If that happens and price starts selling off here now on the H1, forming a bearish key levels, then I will be even more interested in pound longs over euro longs, because then I expect pound to give bigger or better expansion than on euro. On the daily on pound, we have filled out now the entire daily imbalance while still closing inside, as you can see. Also, we swept the previous day's low, closed inside the previous day's range, which is also indicating higher prices tomorrow on pound. Previous day's high, which what I was hoping for to see the expansion today, late in the day, like London close or post London close, but price not willing to displace higher, because the XY has already seen quite a large expansion in the York session. But due to the potential euro pound bearishness, I could have also seen pound, slowly trading higher into the daily closure, which we have not seen today. So I closed the majority of my long, still holding a small position just in case we run higher overnight. But overall, I want to see now tomorrow, once DXY gives that setup, which I was outlining, then I will be looking for what pound has been doing since then. Um, on the H1, we now have this bullish imbalance and this H1 inverse value gap, which I wanted to see price expanding higher from. As you can see, price clearly did not want to break above this New York session high and just remain in the consolidation. So tomorrow, maybe we sweep that low again, but I don't want to see price closing below this bullish H1 imbalance, because same thing here, all of this is balanced. We had a consolidation here pre-news, then start the expansion, so I don't want to see price going back into a consolidation here overnight. That would not be what I would want to see for bullishness tomorrow. But otherwise, if you can consolidate around those bullish H1 key levels heading to tomorrow, then I would also be looking for to add again or to re-enter to pound longs. You still hold pound longs with stop split on New York low overnight. Yeah, as mentioned, I'm still holding my longs with the stop split on New York lows, but as mentioned, I reduced my initial size to like 0.2 R, so really only a small long. Because as mentioned, I wanted to see price closing a bit higher today for me to hold it overnight, which it did not. So I was okay as long as we are consolidating around my entry. Let me de-risk that long a bit, and then reevaluate tomorrow after Asia session. Then UJ is also becoming again of interest after today's price action. We have equal lows here on UJ retracement, took out quite a lot of equal highs here, or low resistance highs of that trend line we left behind on that way down. And now, as you can see, we reversed the entire expansion higher and also left behind this H4 bearish imbalance with this H4 OB. The same thing here. I want to see if we can get a continuation lower and view this as a market maker sell model, consolidation, reversal, and now I want to see if we can print here the lower sell, retracing, and same thing here, key level. If we break lower, then I will look for shorts and then aim for the daily equal lows and this move pretty much here. That will be then my narrative going into tomorrow. Pound if price sweeps New York lows, is the H1 order flow then bearish? I don't want to see price going back below those lows because it would not make sense in the overall, in the overall narrative if price wants to go higher. We've inverted this bearish value gap. We formed a bullish one here. Price is not willing to run this low on news today. The same low we have been watching on euro. You can see here, also not taking out on pound. That's also why I could not long euro or pound today, because none of those assets, neither pound nor euro or dollar, have taken out the stops. So there was no opportunity to look for longs here. And now with price expanding, I'll take out the low. I don't want to see price returning all the way back into that consolidation here. We left, swept the lows, manipulated below the previous day's low, inverted this fair value gap, expand higher from the consolidation. So now, if you're bullish, I would not want to see price to retrace back into that consolidation of today. I did not skip your question, but as you should know, Lucas, we always do exotics after majors. Then gold. Gold also been playing out beautifully today, as I was expecting in yesterday's outlook. We saw price sweeping now finally this daily low. As mentioned early in the week, I was eyeing potentially expansion from that inverse value gap, which we did not see. And then once we closed below, I told you I would only be interested in long again after a sweep of that low, which then I've seen tonight in Asia. We swept the low, tapped into this inverse value gap, and the daily inverse value gap we had as well, into a discount, and then we saw price closing above this bearish imbalance on the H1, closed above, and then I wanted to long this imbalance here, but I opened the charts around here once price was trading already here, so I could not enter in New York. I did bought below here in Asia tonight as I was still awake, so I got a swing trade here, swing entry on those lows, but then to add with more size, I unfortunately missed that retracement into that bullish imbalance here, aligning with the inverse value gap to add here. And then once I opened the charts today, price already expanded higher, and then there was no opportunity for me to add more to longs. So I will simply look for opportunities to add maybe tomorrow or next week, as overall I think gold will trade still way higher into at least that high, and then also potentially the weekly highs here. But as of now, that's the next objective on gold. So I watch, same thing here, I will be watching this H4 imbalance for a retracement. We have this mitigation block here lining up as well. So hopefully gold gives that pullback. That would be nice if we can get a pullback below that low, and then I'll be looking for continuation of gold from here into the highs here. What is the position on gold today? Same as in the previous week. Long somewhere around here, and stops have been below the New York lows of Friday, something like that. And yeah, obviously on those lows I have my stops now and profits. So I will hold those for higher and then try to compound on gold on retracements. Use the Swiss franc. Personally not interested in, but obviously the bias would also be bearish. Seeing lower prices swept this week high to the inbounds, so I would also expect obviously bearishes on Swiss franc, but I personally won't be trading this. So was that stop technically under a week low? Yes, it was, but as mentioned in one of the previous streams, I did not want to see, or I don't want to see gold to get back into that daily range if we are bullish. Because we had this BPR above the consolidation. Then pound yen. That's also a pair which I have been watching since Tuesday. And now it is trading pretty much at my key level. So all I am doing now is waiting to see if price sets up bullish here on the H1. The framework here should be quite obvious. I am watching here this market maker buy model. We have weekly overall ranging order flow. On a daily, we have bullish order flow, respecting daily bullish key levels. As you can see here, swept this low into the inbounds, then had at the SMR a reverse an SMT with EJ, and then we have been trading higher, formed this H4 propulsion block, swept this low, expanded higher, and left behind equal highs. So what I'm watching now is for price to show me signs of displacement higher on the H1. Ideally, I want to see this low getting swept again. So sweeping previous day's low, tapping that what is it, H4? Actually, daily inverse value gap, also aligning with the daily bullish one. So we have PD area alignment of buy and sell side. So what I want to see is, as mentioned, a sweep of that low, hitting that daily inverse value gap, and then if we get a reversal confirming here, let's check what EJ has been doing. Yeah, we also could be forming potential SMT, especially if Euro Pound can drop lower. That would also be good for GJ, as then we expect Pound to catch up on relative strength, which would then be quite nice for GJ, as then can expect expansion on GJ higher. But as mentioned before I long this, I want to see if price is willing to displace on the H1. So pretty much forming here inside this higher time frame market maker buy model and new H1 market maker buy model on the lower time frames. So it's the low and then displacement higher, like an H1 fair value gap, and then low risk buy. That's where you have the first opportunity to go into longs. If you can confirm the low risk buy, for example, forming an H1 propulsion block, then that's where I will be adding or scaling in with more risk, and then look for to compound into the equal highs on GJ. But yeah, that is it for tomorrow. All the things I am watching. Do you consider pound futures PA? Nope, I don't.